Good morning. Let's give Jennifer Lapp another hand. Wow. So beautiful, and thank you, Jennifer, for taking my request of Holy, Holy Way. Holy, Holy Way was my ordination song, and ordination in our tradition is when the minister takes on ministry as their lifetime commitment. So it's a big deal. It's like getting married to God, I guess you could say, where one declares that and basically it's after you've already been ministering for 2 or 3 years, so that you've already had the chance to see if this is really your calling, and then you take it on and you say yes and you become ordained. And I really prayed over what song would be the song, and that song, Holy, Holy Way. Let me live in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. My surrender into, let me be an instrument of love. Let me be an instrument of peace, of joy. So that song, thank you so much, Jennifer, and thank you all for joining in that. Wow, what a day. It really isn't goodbye for me today, because, there's some places you just keep returning to in life. You just keep coming back in some shape or form. And this is one of those places, because I already have a 7-year history with this community. The first time I came here was in 2011, and then I came back at some point in between. I was here 3 times before I ever even entertained the idea of being the interim minister. So I know this is one of those places for me where I will continuously come back for whatever Spirit has me coming back for. So thank you. And I really want to commend this community and all of you and this group, because this is really a special community. This is really a special group, because as much as I appreciate all the gratitude for me in what I have brought, I love the dance that we did together, and I love the surrender of people in this community and the cooperation and the willingness of people in this community to step forward, to say yes, to grow, to learn. That is so refreshing, and that to me says a lot about you all and where you're going and what you're going to do. Just that willingness to grow and to learn and to, such surrender in this community. I really love that and appreciate that. Yes, and what an exciting time as you take this next step on this leg of your journey. And I really encourage you to stay in that place that you have been with me and step further into that with Reverend Dr. Carol, and with all of her experience that she's bringing here to you all. And she's going to be very different from me. Her and I are probably like night and day in terms of our style and the way that we show up, and yet there's so many different ways to be a minister. And I really encourage you to really just sort of like, okay, let's see what this ride is going to be, just like you did with me, right? And really just ride that wave into your next level of growth and your next level of expansion, both as a community as well as individually. Like how exciting that this teacher is going to come in, and do you know that you're going to be changed? For those of you who think we're just going to be the same, except there will be a different person, right? But you're going to be changed by this if you allow yourself to be. You're going to be changed. You're going to grow. You're going to expand. And how exciting is that? How exciting is that you are about to go through, not just as a community, but that you are about to go through individually this new transformation, this new growth. And given the perfect divine order of life and the perfect divine timing of life, would it be a surprise to you if Reverend Dr. Carol was exactly the answer to some of the things that you've been working on? Is the one, those things that you said, boy, I just haven't grown in this area, or wow, this area I just feel stuck. Would it be a surprise to you that Reverend Dr. Carol would be the one who would come in here and suddenly that would start to shift? If we know divine order and divine timing, I would expect that there's something you've been working on personally, and there's something you've been looking to step more fully into personally, that this person is now going to be bringing. I don't know, just a hint for me, just the thought that maybe in this universe of such divine order and timing, that something like that is unfolding here right now. So we're talking today, I really want to talk today about, we've been talking a lot about prayer, and I've very intentionally been very much in manifesting Kingdom 2 of consciousness, where we take dominion, where we speak our word. And I really want to shift a little bit today into talking about Kingdom 3. And Kingdom 2 is such a foundation for Kingdom 3. That place where we know, Ernest Holmes, our founder, said that once you understand the law, once you understand that there is a definite law work and there's a definite creative medium that is receiving the impress of your word, in other words, that when you speak your prayer, it goes somewhere and it gets acted upon. So once you understand that there is this law, then you can essentially forget about the law. You can then focus just on your word. You just know, my word has power. And you just begin to focus on your word, and you begin to realize, I can speak my word. So let's kind of get that foundation here first of this law and our ability to speak our word. I had an example, we have this phrase that we'll say sometimes that allows us to be in surrender, where we'll say this or something better. When we speak our word, we'll speak our word and we'll say this or something better. And yet sometimes we really need to know the power of our word. Sometimes that can be an escape route to say, I'm not sure if my word will really work, so let me just leave an opening there. But sometimes we just need to know the power of our word. We need to be so sure. And I had one of those experiences in Oakland, California when I was living there, and I had an organizer. Back in the days before electronic organizers, I had a big old organizer with all kinds of stuff in it. And I was downtown, and it was a rainy day, and I had all kinds of stuff I was carrying, including an umbrella, and I left this organizer on top of a newsstand. And I walked, and it wasn't until, I don't know, an hour later or something that I realized this organizer had my whole life in it. All my contacts, addresses, appointments. It even had a $10,000 check in there that didn't belong to me, which I'm sure could have been recovered. But at the same time, do you really want to go back to someone else's and tell them that you lost their $10,000 check that's made out to them and belongs to them? So I was walking through downtown, and I was going to the various businesses in the area where I had left it, thinking that maybe someone turned it in. And each person I went to, they looked at me, because this is like downtown Oakland, like urban center, and they're looking at me like, dude, your organizer's lost. Like, you're not going to see that again. Like, I have compassion for you, but, just face it, it's gone. And I'm going from place to place, and everyone's giving me the same look. Like, right? I'm like, have you seen I left it out there? And they're like, no, no one's turned that in. So finally, I had checked every place I thought I could check. And I just started to walk back to my office. I had an office close by. And I started to just walk back to my office. I'm like, okay, I've done everything I could do. But I'm in serious prayer. And this was not the prayer of this or something better. No. This was like, this is my organizer. I know that my organizer is my organizer, and therefore it cannot be separated from me, and it is mine, and it is returned to me right now. It was not a this or something better. It was this, my word, absolute. And so I got back to my office, and I checked my voicemail, and there's a message on there, of all places, from the church office where I was attending Science of Mind Community at the time. And the woman who was the administrator said the first words out of her mouth, which let me know my organizer was found, was, "You must have been praying." And as soon as I heard those words, I'm like, she has my organizer. And so a homeless man had picked it up, found the address to the church in my contact list, which happened to be nearby, and turned it in. And there's a whole other story where I gave him a little reward so he could travel to Seattle. And then I ran into him again on the street, and he showed me his ticket. He wanted me to know that he didn't just take this $100 I gave him and go spend it, that he was carrying his ticket around waiting till he would see me again to let me know that, yes, this is what he did with that $100. He bought the ticket that he told me he was going to buy. But it was just a beautiful divine order and a beautiful demonstration that we can speak our word powerfully. So then, when we know we can speak our word powerfully, and we know there's a law, then we can let go a little bit, right? We can let go of needing to control because we know we've got this power. And so we can let go and we can open ourselves to this knowing that life is always working for our good. And we can begin to lean into that. And so our prayer becomes our knowing that life is working for our good. So we're impressing that upon the law. We're not necessarily speaking our word like my organizer right now. We're not like every little thing. We're not like hitting on all cylinders. We're literally walking in the consciousness of knowing that things are always working for my good, and that becomes a prayer. That becomes the prayer without ceasing. We're living in the consciousness that all is well. So we're constantly impressing that. So there's like this let go. But then there's this absolute ability to return to kingdom 2 if we need to speak our word in an absolute sense. So we can really trust and let go. Because we know at any time, if I lose my organizer downtown Oakland, and it seems impossible I'm going to get it back, I can speak very clearly. But then we can just let go. And we can walk about our lives and we can live our lives from that place of absolute knowing. Like when we get on an airplane or we make a reservation to go somewhere, we don't go up there to the pilot and be like, okay, do you need my help? Or we don't go to the baggage claimers and go like, okay, let me manage this over here. Or we don't go to the flight attendant. We know that there's some man-made laws, human-made laws, rules that work here, and we know them and we trust them. So we can let go. We just go, we make our reservation, boom. We show up, boom. There's no thought beyond that. We just know and we trust that. One time I took a flight to Ghana, West Africa, and on the way back we took this other airline that wasn't necessarily a well-known airline. They happened to have gone out of business shortly after that. And it was a very interesting airline. So the laws that you normally would expect weren't there. And it was a really good reminder of how powerful it is to have systems like that, laws like that in place that we can lean into and trust. So with this one, I don't know how many of you have flown through the airport in Sacramento, but in the airport in Sacramento, there's a sculpture. And that sculpture is, 20 feet high of just suitcases. Like 20 feet high to the ceiling. Well, this airline in Africa, when we landed for a stopover, our luggage looked like that. It was in a pile like that. And we were told to go fetch our luggage to take it to our connecting flight. And we were climbing up the pile, like, let's see, I think mine's in there. And then we were told, oh no, that was a mistake. You don't need to do that. Just trust us, we'll get them there for you. We're like, okay. But they all arrived. They all arrived. It was definitely an exercise in trust. So in this Kingdom 3, where we begin to trust, we begin to let go, we begin to surrender, we begin to tap into, rather than our finite mind, rather than our limited mind for what it is we're going to pray about, we begin to tap into infinite mind for what we're going to pray about, and the prayer becomes more like thy will be done. The prayer becomes like, if you are looking to get into a relationship, the prayer becomes my divine perfect partner. That's a level of surrender, right? Because you're sort of putting your little list aside. You can still have it, but you're kind of holding it much more loosely and saying, let me have the divine perfect partner. Let me have the divine perfect job for me, rather than me trying to figure it out, because in our finite minds, oftentimes we're constantly in prayer for something different, right? We pray, we get something, we go, well, no, that wasn't quite it. Let me try again. We get another list out. Okay, I must have missed a few criteria here. And then we pray for that list, and we get that, and we go, no, that wasn't quite it. But could we trust in infinite intelligence that resides in us, which would have us let go, and then the prayer becomes a much bigger prayer? I realize sometimes myself that I am happy with my little life. Anyone here ever be happy with your little life? It's little, it's not very good, and there's a lot of things that don't work, but I want to hold on to it anyway. Right? I look at myself right now sometimes. I'm in observation of myself right now. I'm just watching myself because I live in this beautiful place. I live in Boulder, Colorado, and I live in this beautiful place. But sometimes I look at how attached I am to that little life I have there, and whether it is limiting me or not. It's nothing wrong with liking what we have, or liking where we are, or liking our little life, until and unless it starts to limit us. Like we're holding on to something small that's preventing us from getting something greater that life is trying to offer us and life is trying to give us. So I've been having this little observation with myself as I sort of look at right now. I'm leaving here, and there's sort of like an opening for me right now. There's an opening for me for something new to come about. And I'm observing myself at how, like, things I'll look at and I'll go, oh, but I like living in Boulder. I like going to dance over at this place that I go every time I go there, like every week. And there's nothing wrong with that, unless and until it starts to limit my possibilities. So I'm in an observation of, where am I limiting my possibilities by being so comfortable with what is? Where am I holding on to a small sense of possibility that is hindering me from stepping into the greater possibility that the universe, that life, that spirit, that this infinite presence within me wants to bring into my life? And then I think about you all, because you all are so dear to me, and I wonder how you are doing that and where you are doing that in your life. Like, where in your life are you holding on to the small sense of who you are, whereby it starts to block and get in the way of a greater possibility? Anyone ever think, like, where you go, like when I was about to go to graduate school, I had family members. I was going to go to MIT. I was going to go do a graduate degree at MIT, right? And I had family members who said, well, you have a good job right now. Why would you leave that good job? And you don't know if you're going to get a job or not when you come out of there. And I'm thinking, I'm coming out with a master's degree from MIT. Like, I don't think I'm going to have a hard time getting a job. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? The family members were boxing me into this one little possibility that was a known. And here is this opportunity to go to one of the most prestigious universities anywhere in the world that opens the door to so much possibility. But some people were inviting me into, but hold on to what you have. You don't know what's out there. Hold on to what you have. So this is really the opportunity of moving from kingdom 2, which is where we recognize we have dominion and that we can speak our word and that we can declare, I want this and I want this and I want this, which is a beautiful thing, by the way. Don't give it up. But moving into kingdom 3, we begin to let go of our grip on that, and we begin to open up to the greater possibility of what might unfold in our lives, which requires us to have a looser hold and less attachment to what is right now. Those little comfortable things that we like that hold us back from some greater possibility in our lives. Like when I went to MIT, I thought, well, if I have to, I'll sell my car in terms of expenses. And people, oh, so you don't want to get rid of your car, do you? No, I don't want to get rid of my car, but I will if that's what will serve for the greater good. So where in your life are you holding on to something small that might be preventing you from receiving and experiencing something so much greater that awaits you? As you, as a community, step into this new stage where you have a new minister, there will be plenty of opportunities to let go of what is, to let go of things that are familiar, things you've always done, maybe things you've done for 10, 15, 20 years. And then the new minister comes in and says, why do you do that? And invites you into a greater possibility. Where can we let go of being comfortable to open up to the possibility of thriving in such a great way that's way beyond anything we've experienced so far? In Science of Mind, we think of Jesus as the master teacher. And we think of Jesus as, this is sort of a leap from where we've been, but it has relevance. We think of Jesus as the great example, not the great exception, but the great example. And he referred to himself in that way. He said, great things have I done, but even greater things shall you do. Like if you follow what I'm teaching you here, that you speak your word and trust and know that you will even have greater results than I've had. Like I'm giving you a truth here that I'm just showing you a little bit of what's possible with this truth. But you can even do more with it. There's a place in Matthew that describes Jesus talking about think not for what you shall eat or what you shall drink or what you shall wear. This is the kingdom 3. Trusting in that take no thought for these things. There's a point where you're not praying again like, oh, now I need a new outfit. I'm going to pray for that. Now I need money to buy this. I'm going to pray for that. And it's like, take no thought for these things. Your Father in heaven knows that you have need of these things. We begin to let go and trust, and our prayer becomes, thy will be done. Our prayer becomes, I know that good, all things are working together for my good. And it becomes a prayer without ceasing. We take no thought for what we shall wear, what we shall eat, how we shall pay our rent. We don't let go of the practical. I'm not saying that if your rent is due and you don't know how you're going to pay, you should take no thought. Don't even worry about it. What I'm saying is that we're learning to step into a higher consciousness where we're not having to pray for every little thing, that we're stepping into a consciousness that starts to manifest itself as everything we need. The last thing I want to bring into this talk is sort of a tool, if you will, sort of a practical tool that, because all of us have areas in life where we feel pretty confident, right? And I even thought about, like, someone might say, you know what, no area of my life works really well. But I'm ready for you if that's your thought. Because even if you have confidence that no area of your life works, you can still use that confidence and that faith and that trust, right? Someone who believes in Murphy's Law. Someone believes in Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. If you believe in that, then you believe in something. And you have trust in something, and you have faith in something. So the tool that I want to offer you is to take what you have absolute trust in, absolute faith in, and move that vibration and move that energy into other areas of your life where you have less faith and less trust. For example, let's say you have absolute confidence around manifesting money. Like money's never been an issue for you, but then other areas like manifesting a relationship, oh, you just have never been able to do that. Then take that confidence, that trust, and that faith and say, what's the feeling? How do I feel when I'm feeling into that? And examine that in your being, right? The vibration, the energy, the thought pattern, all of it. And take that same energy, that same vibration, that same state of consciousness, that same state of being, and just move it over into those other areas of your life. It's just a state of consciousness. There's nothing stopping us from not being in that state of consciousness in this other area, even though usually when we're in that other area, suddenly we start to deflate, right? We're like, oh, relationship, well, that's a whole different thing. But it's not. Because this law of life that we're using, this creative medium that really is what all prayer is based in, doesn't care about these different things. It works the same. It is us that somehow shuts down or contracts or becomes smaller in this particular area of life because of some idea we've had about ourselves or about life regarding that particular area. So we can just slide this over. If the only thing we have faith in is that things won't work out, then examine that faith that you're so confident that things won't work out and move that confidence over to things will work out. Just flip it over there. Because it's that same faith that is creating what we've created. So if you've been able to manifest real mess in your life, good for you. Good for you. You are a heck of a manifester. Seriously. Right? So, since you're a great manifester of mess, hey, everybody's got to specialize in something, right? Then take that ability to manifest mess and just shift it over and start manifesting something different. It's the same energy, it's the same law, it's the same power. Just use it differently. Or we could say it's a wrong use of the law. If you're manifesting mess all the time, it's a wrong use of the law. It's an opposite use of the law. But most of us aren't doing that, so let's move to what most of us are doing. Most of us have some areas of life that we're very good at manifesting in. And that is a real gift because we can take that confidence, that trust, that faith that we have in that area of life, and we can slide it over into all areas of our lives. It's just an energy. It's just a state of being. It's just a state of consciousness. It's a vibration. Examine that vibration. Examine that state of being. Examine all of that and get to the essence of how you're being, how you're thinking, what feeling tone, what vibration are you standing in when you are so confident in that area, and just slide it over. And when you slide it over, continue to observe all the things that come up that start to resist it in that other area of life. And then just start to peel back those layers of onion. You're like, oh, wow. That's what comes up when I slide that over. And we begin to learn about ourselves. We begin to learn about what inhibits us, what blocks us. And it's really nothing. When we really see it, it's nothing. When I've peeled back the layer and I see like, what? Really? That's the belief that's operating? And we just begin to gently love that old belief. And at the same time, we're loving that old belief or that old perspective or that old way of looking at things. We also begin to release it. very gently. You see, it has no power. That's the thing to realize. That thing that you think is so big, it's so big, it's so big that it's blocking you and it won't allow you to go forward. It's so big and it's always been there. It really has no power. The only power is truth. The only power is one power, which is God, which is divine, which is good. That's the only power there is. So if we recognize that this other stuff that seems to hold us back really has no power, except that we're so powerful that we've given it power, then we can begin to look at it very lightly. And we can begin to just say, like, you know what? Thank you for all the years that you've been here to teach me whatever you've been here to teach me, this old belief, this old blockage, this old baggage, whatever. And we can stop the fight. Get out of the fight. You don't need to fight. If a little kid came up to you and said, I'm going to beat you up, right? you would just be like, oh, hi, how are you, right? You know, you would know that this isn't really real. It's the same thing with these things that have no power, but we've given them power. So now we can take that power back and go like, okay, thank you for all that you've taught me. You've served a purpose all these years of being here. And now I'm going to let you go. Very gently. No fight. Very gently we let that go. And we create the opening to slide that faith, that trust, that knowing, that vibration of surrender to the divine and alignment with our divine nature. And we just move it over to all these other areas of our lives. Could it be that simple? Or do we need it to be harder? Do we want it and need it to be harder? Could it be that simple? And would you be willing for it to be that simple and that easy? Would you be willing for your life to just shift? Would you be willing for it to just say goodbye to that stuff that never really was real, that you gave power to anyway, it never had power? Would you be willing to be wrong? Because the argument over all the years has been, this is why I can't do this. This is why I can't manifest in this area. This is why I can't have this. Would you be willing to just say, you know what, I was totally wrong. I was totally wrong. That's not the truth about my life. I've now changed. I'm now choosing to have something different. Could it be that simple? And would you be willing for it to be that simple? And would you be willing to say, I've been wrong about my ability to have certain things that I've had all kinds of arguments about why I can't have them? Would you be willing to be just wrong about that? Admit it, be done with it, and just start to have that area of your life work? Well, that's what I'm inviting you into today. Sandy, speak your word. Sandy said it. Say it again, Sandy. Say it again, Sandy.
I already did.
This is true. It's done already. Why would you need to say it again? It's done. It's true. It's done already. So I leave you with today this invitation to recognize how amazing this community is. I know you already do. To recognize how amazing you are. I know you already do. To recognize that it's up to you. It's up to you where you're going to go from here. There's nothing else outside of you just determining where you're going to go from here. Not even your new minister. Your new minister is invited here by you. You invited her here. So the only thing that's determining your next steps personally and your next steps as a community is, what are you saying yes to? What I know you're saying yes to is magnificence, greatness, and an amazing ride. So enjoy the ride. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.